I solemnly swear that I will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Hi, everybody. Ron here from The Truth About Addiction. Welcome to another podcast. Today's guest is Dylan Randall. Dylan's a musician. He's in a band called Sailing in Space. And Dylan's from the Sunshine Coast up here in Queensland. And I'm very privileged to have him on our podcast here. So welcome, Dylan. Thanks, mate.
Thanks for having me, Ron.
My pleasure, mate. So tell us the Dylan Randall story, please, mate.
Where do I start?
At the beginning is always a good place.
I guess where it sort of starts for me, the most significant thing I can, pinpoint is my father passed away when I was 9.
Wow.
And so me and my brother were sort of brought up by a single mother for quite a while. And, that's where I feel my addictive tendencies started to, where I started to act out in an addictive way. I was 9 years old, and my reality became a bit harder to deal with. So I started to live in a bit of a fantasy to sort of deal with that, I feel. And so I was fantasizing about, being a musician, about being Steve Irwin.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's where things sort of started to go a bit chaotic in my head. And since then, it's been a crazy journey of music. And I'm a big family guy. So my family has been really at the front of my mind. And, I'm in a band with my little brother. So we have sometimes a codependent relationship, but it's a beautiful thing. Like, I love my brother so much, and yeah, it's cool to be in a band with him.
Yeah, cool, man, cool. What's your deal now? You're playing in a band. You do a lot of stuff up here on the coast.
Yep, playing on Ocean Street and trying to get out there as much as I can. It's been a struggle. I've sort of stood in my own way a little bit when it comes to that stuff, struggling with self-worth and motivation to sort of get out there, but it's getting better.
Yeah, cool. And you're in a recovery program, so you've got to juggle that too. You've got to take care of your recovery to get you to be able to cope with life on life's terms, so to speak, and to be able to get you a bit of self-worth. Like people don't understand self-worth, such a major thing for people that suffer with addictions. Because what a lot of people don't understand is active addiction is a form of self-abuse.
Yes.
Self-sabotage.
Yes.
And self-hatred. People don't understand. They go, why don't you just stop? I wish.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many times have you told yourself, that's it, no more?
Yeah, plenty. I would feel like I did a bad job at a gig, and so I would go and use because, just to beat myself up, But I'm 29 days clean today, and
beautiful.
Yeah, I'm loving it, and things are changing so rapidly. I am getting that self-worth back, even this early in the game. So
yeah, nice. I did a podcast with a young guy last week, and he's 30, and he used to go with my daughter in America. He's from Florida. He came out to Australia about 9 years ago and stayed at my house. And he's turned into a incredibly brilliant artist. And he went through a whole stage of because of his addiction of self-sabotaging. And he had a whole body of works ready to go on exhibition.
Yeah.
And he got drunk and got on something else, probably cocaine, and sliced it all up.
Really?
Then he woke up the next morning after he'd been on the bender and seen all his artwork that he'd taken months and months and months to paint. And he sewed it all back together with string. And now his new style, he's doing that to paintings on purpose.
Wow.
Yeah. So, something good comes out of everything. You know, if we use it as a positive, as a lesson, we can use it. You know, all our relapses and all our mistakes are lessons if we learn from them.
Yes, I think, relapse has been a part of my story, and I feel like I have learnt from it, and it hasn't, all been. I mean, it was a waste of time, but it wasn't a waste of time, if you know what I mean.
It's only a waste of time if you continue making the same mistake and expecting different results.
Yes.
If you realise that, wait a minute, every time I use it, my life turns to shit, then it's not a waste of time.
Yes.
And also you learn is that using resolved none of the issues why I used.
Definitely not. Definitely not. That story, I resonate with that story about the artist, because I felt like cutting up my songs and my music, when I was using it, I didn't value my art at all.
Yep.
And that's part of what led me to getting clean, because that's not the person I want to be. Music is, I do value that. As you said in the story, I've found ways to write about addiction, and it's improved the art. So, yeah.
Exactly. Young Chris's art has a lot to do with addiction.
Mm.
He's got guys smoking meth through,
Wow.
like orchard bottles, and he's got meth written on the bottle, and people caught up in labels, like in a straitjacket with Gucci, Armani and all this rubbish, and they're being torn apart by the labels.
Yes.
And it's another addiction, shopping addictions, and his art's really confronting. I'm going to try to get him over here next year to do a show.
That is very confronting. Even just hearing about it, I'm like, that's
a really good idea would be if you're a band and you're doing well and that we could do an art show and bring the band in, because I like doing that sort of stuff, incorporating people in recovery, showing the world that we haven't got two horns. We're not born lying, thieving junkies. That takes practice.
Yeah.
We're born human beings. We're born normal people, and we have an addictive personality that we find a substance, then we start becoming a slave to that substance.
Yeah. Sick people trying to get well, not bad people trying to get good.
Exactly, mate. Exactly. For me, I was very happy to find out that I had a disease of addiction rather than a moral deficiency.
Me too. Yes. I love that part.
Yeah. Because I thought I had a moral deficiency.
Yes.
I thought I was a bad person. As a child, I always thought I was a bad person. I did bad things, but I wasn't a bad person. And today I'm not, I'm just a person. I'm not good or bad. I'm just a human being.
Yeah.
Not a human taking.
That would be nice. Yeah. I'm definitely guilty of being a taker, and I don't want to live that way anymore.
But one day at a time, you're not. You're learning how to live this process,
Yes.
And that's why I asked you to come on this podcast, because I see something in you probably you don't see in yourself.
Thank you. Yes.
That's called a future.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I don't. I have a lot of fear around the future. Yes.
Yeah, there's nothing to fear. Fear is lack of faith.
Yes.
And the faith has to be that no matter what happens, everything's going to be okay.
Yes.
Therefore, you don't have expectation. And if you don't have expectation, you can't be let down.
Yes.
So you've got to have this unconditional belief that all will be well no matter what.
Would you say that faith is a practice as well?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, I'm trying to practice faith, I've been practicing fear for quite a while. And
you're good at it.
Yeah.
It's like everything. You've heard the story of the white wolf and the black wolf, haven't you?
Yes.
Where whichever one you feed is the one that wins the fight. Well, if you're practicing fear, well, you have to start practicing faith. If you practice faith more often than you practice fear, faith will start to get stronger.
Yes.
And faith comes from honesty.
Absolutely.
Because when you're full of fear, you got to ask yourself this question: what am I fearful about? Is it a founded fear or an unfounded fear?
Most of the time, it's probably unfounded, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
99% of the time, fear is unfounded.
Yes.
If someone's got a gun at your head, be scared. If you're scared to go out because something's going to happen, that's unfounded.
Yes.
You don't know what's going to happen.
No.
How many times did you come home after being on a binge or whatever, and you're full of fear, thinking, "Oh my God, when I get home, the shit's going to hit the fan," and you get home, mum was asleep.
All the time.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it was an unfounded fear. It wasn't real. So you worried all the way you got home, then mum was asleep. You sneak into bed and you go to sleep.
That's right.
Unfounded fear. It's
Yes.
as simple as that. It's really as simple as that. That, you know, fear is what you make what you make it. The addictive brain loves to have fear, because fear brings insecurity and uncertainty.
That's
And
it.
that's why it's so, mate.
I can recognize today that my head likes being in fear.
It's used to it.
It's comfortable. Yeah.
You know, I call my disease the pedophile.
Okay.
Because it's been screwing me since I was a kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, that's the truth.
Yes.
So my attitude is, would you let a pedophile live in your house? No. Well, why do you let one live in your head?
Mm.
And you go like, well, I wouldn't. Well, you do. Now, your disease has told you over the years that you're worthless, hopeless, useless, and you're better off killing yourself.
Yes, it has.
If anyone else told you that, you wouldn't let them live in your house.
No.
So why are you letting that guy live in your head?
Yeah. But it's true that you need help to kick that guy out, right?
You need new information.
Yes.
It's like anything. Information's power.
Yeah.
So if you're powerless over this disease and powerless over this voice, we need to get information to give us more power to
Yes.
fight this guy. It's a war. I call it a war. I call fighting the disease of addiction as a war. And it's life and death. That's why I take it so seriously.
Mm.
Now, over the past, your disease has been stronger than you. So you need to bring some friends in.
Yes.
Your sponsor, the steps,
Yes.
your belief systems, your higher power, and your information.
Yep.
Now, I don't care how tough some guy is. If there's you, me, the 12 steps, we're kicking the shit out of him. There's 14 of us.
Yeah.
I don't care how tough he is, mate. We're going to beat that motherfucker up.
Yeah. It takes a village.
Yeah, exactly. And we kick the shit out of that guy and we piss him off. Now, what happens with all cowards? When they get confronted, they run away.
Yes.
That's why they say cowards. They cower away in the corner, but they don't go away. They just sit in the corner and they wait. They're patient, insidious, sneaky, and they're training in the background.
Yeah.
So we have to be vigilant with our recovery, with our thoughts. The drug's not the problem. What was your drug of choice?
Pot.
Okay. If you
Whatever the kids are calling it nowadays.
Sorry?
Whatever the kids are calling it nowadays.
Yeah. If you had some bud,
yeah.
If you had some bud, you had an ounce of bud sitting in your top drawer, you left it there for 3 months, you come home every night, your house is not trashed. The joint's not disturbed, it's not unmanageable. Your life's still going okay.
Yes.
The minute you smoke, you're at that pot. So now you've put the bud inside of you. The house is trashed. It's untidy. Your life's spiraling out of control. And you feel like killing yourself.
Yes. I'm not leaving that house the moment that goes inside of,
So what's the problem? The bud or you?
Oh, me. My reaction.
The bud's been sitting there for 3 months and hasn't caused any damage whatsoever.
100%.
The minute you put inside your body, everything turned to shit.
Definitely. That has been my experience.
So the problem's you.
Absolutely.
You take the bud out of your life, then you have the living problem.
It's taken me a couple of tries at this recovery thing to see that it's a thinking problem. But yeah, I can definitely see that today.
And it is. And it's just a thinking problem. So what we have to do is you have to learn new ways of thinking. Now, that's the easy part. Unlearning the old parts is the hard part.
Yes.
Unlearning the lies that pedophile has been telling us, that we're worthless, useless, hopeless, and not valid. Because we still have that implanted in our head, because it's been telling that us a long time. And we've been believing, because we've been acting on those beliefs, reassuring him that we are a liar, thief, and a cheat.
Yeah.
to maintain our active addiction. We have to be a liar, thief, and a cheat.
I can see today, like the reacting to the thought, you know, reacting to those thoughts that have been enforced, and I can see how insane that is. Like you don't have to react to any thought, do you?
No, you don't, mate. You know, and no one has the power to make you feel anything.
Yes.
It's your choice.
Yes.
You know, if somebody says something to me and I take it personal, right, I can accept the fact that that hurt my feelings. My ego's been chinked.
Yep.
But I'm not responsible for what that person thinks of me.
That's right.
The minute he says it to me, I'm now responsible for the way I react or the way I don't act. And the way I choose to act is, mate, your opinion is not really valid. My opinion is more worthy. Plus, you're coming from a place of hostility and negativity.
Yeah.
I'm living in a place of love and understanding. So basically, you can piss off. Yeah, because I'm not a doormat. Just because you get clean, you don't become a doormat. Trust me. It gives you more power than when you ever believed you could have.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Because now you have self-worth and dignity.
Yes. So my experience with that is I get to that point where I can, you know, if someone says something to me that is affecting me, yeah, I can see it for what it is nowadays because I'm clean and because I've been doing this program. But then in the past, my mistake was letting it stay there and not sharing it.
You're taking it on.
Yeah, just letting it stay inside and fester.
I have a saying, you know, because I have 8 demands that I work in my programs when I teach people about recovery. And it's openness, to state where you stand, not to stand your ground. Acceptance, to accept that other people can see you better than you can see yourself. If one person tells you you're a dickhead, have a look at it. If 2 people you tell you a dickhead, have a real good look at it. If 3 people tell you you're a dickhead, you know. But if it's not valid, let it fall off. In other words, if someone says you're a dickhead and it's not true, let it fall off.
Yeah.
Don't carry it with you. It's not your problem. That's their opinion.
Yeah.
And opinions are like backsides. Everyone's got one. Some of them stink.
Yes. But my experience has been sort of, you know, of course I've had people tell me I'm a dickhead, but I've had a lot of people tell me I'm a good person, you know, and I've never been able to hold that. Like I've never been, you know, it's like one person will tell me I'm a good person. I'm like, yeah, whatever. 2 people tell me I'm a good person. Yeah, whatever. 3 people, I'm like, yeah, whatever. But today, if 3 people tell me I'm a good person, I'm like, maybe I'm a good person. So that's been a gift of recovery for me.
100%. And you know what? We'd rather be told that we're useless, worthless, and hopeless because that's what we're used to.
Yes.
And when we get told something nice about ourselves, I used to be really uncomfortable with people telling me they loved me.
That's right.
Especially girls.
Right.
When a girl said she loved me, my brain would go, oh, you poor darling.
Yeah.
You don't know me.
Yeah.
And you've just given me a license to do whatever I want.
Yes. Subconsciously, I think I've done that too. Yeah.
Yeah. That was what my brain did. Subconsciously, it was like, oh my God, now I'm going to abuse this relationship. And then I'd burn it all down. And then I'd be like, well, what did I do that for? You know?
Yes. Yes.
But it was just another cycle that I was in because of my self-worth, my self-loathing. Because my ego told me that I was fantastic, but my soul felt rotten.
Yes.
And this is a disease of addiction that goes to your soul. Recovery's got to go to your soul. This is not a knowing program, it's a doing program.
Yes. And
recovery happens on the inside.
Spiritual malady, right?
Yes, 100%. Good words.
Yes.
I tell a story that when I was 16 years clean, I was laying in a waterfront mansion, multi-millionaire, watching the cricket, hoping that I'd die tomorrow, that I'd die in my sleep.
Wow.
I was spiritually bankrupt. I was doing a lot of bad things. And I was in recovery and I was 16 years clean and I was hoping that I'd die. Yeah. And then I got arrested. I went to prison. I went back to prison for 8 years and really worked on my recovery and stopped causing harm and stopped committing crimes, and my whole life changed.
Wow.
I had a spiritual awakening. The thing they talk about is in the 12-step programs. I didn't get the full benefits till I started being honest. You know, and part of my demands are honesty. Yeah, must be honest, you know. You must be
Yeah.
open, you must be accepting, you must be reliable, and also congruent. What I say, I don't ask you to do something unless I'm prepared to do it myself.
Yes.
I don't like hypocrites. No, I don't listen to hypocrites, you know what I mean?
Yes. I've
Also,
been a hypocrite. I've been a hypocrite in those past, attempts at recovery,
yeah,
and not even seen it necessarily, but this time I can see it, and I'm more open to listening to other people.
it's, this recovery trip is a cool thing, and I like it now because it's become fashionable.
Yeah.
I was in America 26 years ago before Charlie Sheen lost the plot. And
Oh,
he was at a friend of mine's tattoo studio. My mate was tattooing him, and it was 12 o'clock at night. And Charlie and I I'm talking about recovery. Charlie's drinking vodka and swallowing pills and snorting coke, you know. And he goes to me, "What do you want to do? Take me one of them AA meetings, you know?" And I said, "Mate, you'd be blessed if I did." Cut a long story short, he ended up by getting clean for 12 months. And he sent a message to through the guy how I met him, through my mate, the tattooist. And he said, "Tell Ronnie," he said, "it was the most boring 12 months of my life." Then he lost the plot and started smoking crack and blah, 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 because he wasn't grateful for his recovery.
yes.
And then fast forward now, he's got a bad disease. He's not well. He's in recovery again now
Yes.
because he has to be.
Yeah.
He has no choice. Yeah.
They say it's the end of the road for us, right?
Exactly.
There's no other choice but
Jails, institutions, or death.
Yeah.
And Charlie's was in exactly the same position, you know.
Wow.
I remember seeing Robert Downey Jr. at a meeting
Did
in
you?
LA when this is before he got arrested and this is before he got clean.
Yeah.
And I asked him if he wanted to share. I was chairing the meeting. It was in downtown LA. And I said, "Would you like to share?" And in those days, I knew he was somebody because he had a bodyguard with him and all that shit. And he was sick. He was detoxing. And he said, "No, man." He said, "I'm just happy to breathe."
Wow.
And now he's gone on to be he got into recovery. He's gone to be one of the most famous, highest paid actors in the world.
Yeah, the gratitude.
This is what gratitude does to you.
Yeah.
Danny Figueroa, you know, the guy that's got the Mexican tattooed on his chest?
Oh yeah, machete.
Yeah, Machete. He's 50 years clean.
Yeah, wow.
Like, these are people that no one knows about, you know. B.B. King,
Oh, BB King.
Eric Clapton.
Yeah, I came into the rooms through Russell Brand.
Yeah, yep.
Got over 15 years clean.
Yeah.
And the way he spoke about this stuff really spoke to me, you know. And Steve-O from Jackass.
Yeah, exactly. All these people got clean. So now recovery's become cool.
That's right.
But this is why I started this format, because I want to get the message out to people to understand that people who are, and this is for straight people too, people who are addicts weren't born with horns. We're not bad people trying to get good. We're sick people trying to get well.
Yeah.
And this disease doesn't care where you came from or who your parents were. Now, I've had the honor of treating people that come from the highest class of people in Australia, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And people have come from the Housing Commission, and we all have one thing in common. We all think that we're rubbish. We don't think we're worthy, and we suffer with this disease that lies to us.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know.
Sorry, I like that you mentioned you had all the material stuff, but you were spiritually bankrupt, you know, like from the outside looking in.
Yep.
I was never that, my drug of choice was weed, and like I was never on the street, from the outside looking in, I was normal. But it still took me to a place where I was dead inside, and where I was lying, cheating, stealing, all of that stuff. And so I like that it doesn't matter what we use or how much we use, that kind of thing.
I sort of smile to myself when people go, "It's only weed." You know, I've seen people coming off weed in so bad a psychosis that they've been as bad as anybody I've seen coming off ice.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. You know, people go, "There's no withdrawal with weeds." Well, I'm sorry, there is.
There certainly is.
There is, you know. And today's weed is a chemical.
Very
hydro.
Very
it's not like the stuff that I smoked when I was a kid. It was still strong, you know, because I used to get hashish from all around the world and Buddha sticks and all that madness. And it wasn't full of all the chemicals that today's pot is. I've seen today's pot really, really, really damage some young people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm one of them for sure.
But,
Like, it,
but as I said to you, it's the mental health issues that come with it. It's
yeah,
not the chemical, it's not the drug, it's what it does to us when we smoke it. You're allergic to marijuana.
I
And when
am.
you smoke it, you can guarantee your behavior, and you're no longer irrational or
Yeah.
sane.
Yes.
So for you to smoke pot is insane. It's an insane decision. It's a form of self-abuse.
Yeah. Today, I'm feeling quite manic.
Yep.
I woke up 100 miles an hour, and I went to the beach, and like I think that's part of the withdrawals, and part of the mental side effects of my using, like you're saying.
And it's also part of being 29 days clean.
Yes.
You're about par for course,
Yes.
It's normal at 29 days to be manic. And but the only thing you got to remember is it will get better.
Yes.
If you stay clean, it'll get better. If you pick up, it'll get worse.
Yes.
That's the reality of recovery. And that's the only guarantee I make. I'm sure you've heard me say that, I
Yes.
guarantee two things. If you use it, it'll get worse. If you stop using it, it'll get better.
Yeah.
And you know what, mate? If it was easy and you stopped and everything was normal, we'd never get clean because we could just stop again next week.
Yeah.
When people say to me, I'm doing it tough, I'm doing it really hard, it's hard, I go, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yes.
I can remember it. Remember it.
That's
My
right.
last detox is 36 and a half years ago, and I remember it like it was yesterday. My last week of using was 36 and a half years ago, and I remember it like it was yesterday. I never want to forget that feeling I had of dereliction, degradation, and powerlessness. I
Yeah.
was so degraded.
I do struggle with that a bit because I feel great today, and I do forget that, I have to really remind myself. I do forget that pain. Like,
Yep.
so that's why it's helpful to have other people to, remind you
Yeah.
of that.
Practice it.
Mm.
Practice it. I pray, and I don't know who I pray to, and every night I say, thank you for helping me stay clean for the last 24 hours, and please help me stay clean for the next 24 hours. And that's an act of humility, an act of remembrance, to remember what I was like. And I'm not doing this on my own. I'm doing this with the help of people like yourself and a lot of other people who are in recovery, who I draw strength on.
Yeah.
I draw strength from all you people that are in recovery to go, okay, this is what happens if I go back to using. Or this is what happens if I stay clean. Or
Yeah.
this is what happens when you stop treating yourself. So you don't have to relapse to be sick.
No, the relapse happens before you take the first drink or drug, right?
100%. Yeah, 100%, mate. My last relapse happened months before I picked up.
Same.
Yeah, months before I picked up. I stopped working a program.
Yeah.
I started isolating from the good people, started associating with the wrong people,
Yes.
thought I could hang around old using friends,
Yes.
thought I could do old using things but not use, and it didn't work for me,
To be honest, that has been a big pitfall of mine, and yeah, I am having to learn the hard way about that. And it's tricky with my music and things like that because, yeah, I am hanging around some of the same people as when I was using. So I find that a hard thing to balance.
Okay, I'll tell you a story. In 1995, I was in Los Angeles, and I got invited to come to a band called the Black Crowes,
Yes.
one of the biggest bands in America.
Yes.
Johnny Colt was the bass guitarist for the Black Crowes. Johnny Colt was trying to get clean.
Really?
Johnny Colt and I were in one room doing yoga, talking about recovery. And the two brothers that were part of the band were shooting heroin in the room next door
Right.
before they went on stage. And I said to Johnny Colt, I said, mate, you're going to have to leave this band to stay clean.
Mm.
And he's like, yeah, I think you're right, Ron. And cut a long story short, Johnny Colt left the Black Crowes and started a big production company where bands fly into wherever he lives. I forget the town now where he lives in. He's got everything there, all the PA systems and the trucks and the lighting. So he's got a company that does that. But he went and played for another really famous band, went and played bass guitar for them. and he's still clean 27 years later. You know, and I can tell you there's lots of stories. So your music's only an excuse.
Yeah. And I think that comes back to that fear and faith thing.
Yep.
Like, I just have to have faith that there's something better for me, you know. And evidence shows that every time I'm doing the right thing, something better does come along. So
that's it. And that is the truth, you know. If you do good things come back.
Yep.
But the moral to the story is, and this is for me with everybody and everything, is you only get out of this program what you put into it.
Yeah.
You only believe in your head what you feed it. So you're responsible. And the minute you take responsibility for your recovery and your actions, you can take responsibility for your rewards.
Yeah, right.
Then you can start to get pride out of your rewards. I've got a saying I call pride of achievement, achievement of pride.
Okay.
So when you achieve something, you're proud of it. So then you get pride.
Yes.
So pride of achievement, achievement of pride. Pride's not ego. Humility and pride are a really nice thing together. I'm extremely proud that you're 29 days clean today. I'm proud of that. And you should be too.
Thank you. Yes, I am. This time around, I am. You know, before I was hard on myself, and it was never enough. You know, I wanted to be 2 years clean straight away. But today, you know, every day I'm trying to be grateful for every day.
And I believe a grateful addict won't use drugs.
Yes.
So you remain grateful.
Yes.
I've got a saying, you know, I used to complain I had no shoes till I met a man who had no feet.
Yeah.
Now, there's a story that goes with that because I'm old. I was living in the Philippines about 30 years ago, and there was a guy who used to sell cigarettes, just single cigarettes and little minties. He was on a skateboard. It was homemade skateboard. It was just a piece of board with little like pram wheels on it, and he had no legs, cut off at his hips. Yeah. And he used to wear thongs on his hands because his hands wouldn't wear it when he was skating around.
Right.
And he'd say, "Hello, Mr. Ron. Good morning, Mr. Ron. How are you, Mr. Ron?" He knew I didn't smoke. I'd say, "I'm good, mate. How are you?" I can't think of his name now. And he'd give me a minty, and I'd give him 50 times more than what it was worth. You know, I was just giving him a tip. Every morning, that guy, "Good morning, Mr. Ron. How are you, Mr. Ron?" with the biggest smile on his face. And I thought, how dare I complain about having no shoes?
That's it.
How dare I?
Yeah.
You know what? And I've maintained that same attitude. How dare I complain about not having when I have so much?
Yes.
I have freedom of choice.
Yes.
I have freedom from self.
Yeah.
I have freedom from this disease of addiction today.
Yeah.
You know, like, man, this is a gift. You can't buy it. You can't steal it. You know, no one can take it from you.
Yeah.
You know, how wonderful is this thing called recovery?
Yeah.
You know? So
I find myself today, like, I can see the difference because today, like, I get excited about possibility of like action. It sounds corny and you don't have to believe me, but I get excited about the idea of what I can give back. And that's how
you should get excited about.
Yeah.
Because that's what life is. Life is about giving back.
It's a good feeling.
That's a human being, not a human taking.
Yeah.
The big difference between a human being and a human taking, massive difference. When I was in active addiction, I was a human taking.
Mm.
Now I'm in recovery, I'm a human giving, a human being. You know, I'm being human, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And being a human being is loving, understanding, compassion, I believe. And compassion is a thing where you give. Empathy is where you understand and you receive. You know, I understand your pain, so I got empathy for it because I've been there. You know, and the most valuable thing you can give anybody is your time.
Yes.
You can't make more time. I can make more money, but your time is the most valuable thing that you can give. So when somebody says to me, "Oh, you know, can I talk to you about?" Okay, yeah, I can. And if they're honest and truthful and they're serious about what they're doing, I'll give them all the time in the world. But if they're wasting my time, I'll go, "Stop. I haven't got time for this."
Yeah.
Because I could be spending my time. See, if I spend a time with somebody who's wasting my time, that's an hour I rob from my children.
Absolutely.
My time's valuable. You know, at the moment, a lot of young people make the mistake to think that they've got time.
Hmm.
We haven't got time. We're never going to have more time. They go, life's money. Time's money. No, time's life.
Yeah.
Time's not money, buddy. Money's money. No, money's money. Money. Time's not money.
Yeah.
Time is life. Something that you can never ever get back, and something you should never throw away.
Yeah. Yeah. I do regret throwing away lots of time, but you know, I'm grateful I don't have to waste time today.
Yeah. Well, the bottom line is, if they're lessons learned, they're experiences. And if they're experiences, they're education. And education takes time, so you didn't waste it.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm an experiential learner. So
Yeah,
maybe it wasn't all wasted.
Mate, you know, it's all about perception. A lot of what goes on in our brains about how we perceive things.
Yes.
You know, a cup's half full or a cup's half empty. It's perception.
Yeah.
It's still half a cup.
Yeah.
I choose to look at the cup as being half full because I have a faith and a belief. As long as I do the right thing on a daily basis, all will be well.
Yes.
And I know that for a fact because I've been doing it so long.
Yeah.
And I go on evidence. You know, I'm an ex-criminal. It's all about evidence with me.
Yeah.
Can't prove it, I can get away with it. If you can prove it, I'm buggered, you know?
Yeah.
It's all about the evidence. What evidence do I have that that's true? Same as when your brain talks to you and it says you're worthless, you should say, what evidence you got to say that?
That's right.
You should use, well, what evidence you got that my life's going to be good when I use? Every time I use it's turned to shit.
Yeah.
So you're a liar. You know, this is how I talk to my brain. If my brain tells me a lie, I challenge it. I say, mate, do you think I'm an idiot?
Yeah.
You know, we've
And
been down this road before.
That's part of acceptance commitment therapy, the ACT stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's been valuable for me actually to hear. I mean, you know, I've got a lot of that in recovery, and but that's been helpful for me to challenge those thoughts. You know,
Cognitive thinking. What will happen if I do this?
Yeah, it's all fear based. Hey,
Yeah. Is it an asset or a liability? If it's an asset, go ahead. If it's a liability, piss it off. What evidence do I have that it's an asset? Challenge the thoughts.
Yeah.
Challenge, mate. I say to people, don't listen to what I say, watch what I do.
Yes.
And challenge what I say. Test it.
Yeah.
It's like being in a court of law. You know, it's got to be tested.
Yeah.
You can't just believe because someone said it. They could be a liar.
Yeah.
And every time I test what my disease tells me, it cowers in the corner because it's a liar and a thief and a cheat. Right. And the bigger I've got in recovery, my recovery's got bigger, my disease has got smaller.
So do you perceive it as a cowering small thing?
Yeah. I do.
Because I've heard a lot of people say, you know, this disease is a giant gorilla doing push-ups in the back, but it's not helpful to look at it that way.
No.
For some people, is it?
My recovery is a giant gorilla.
Yes.
Sucking the shit out of that shithead little disease.
Yes, I like that. Thank you.
Yeah. Because I feed my gorilla. I don't feed the coward. I feed the brave one. I feed him.
Yeah.
And I've been feeding him a long time. I've been doing this recovery shit for 41 years.
Yeah.
That's a long time to be doing anything. And if you're not good at it in 41 years, maybe you shouldn't be doing it, you know?
That's right. Yeah.
But I only do it because of the rewards. Not talking about financial.
Mm.
You know, I made my money through businesses, not through recovery.
Yeah.
You know, and I have a recovery business now, but the money's not my motivator. We get paid a fee and we have bills, but my motivation is to carry the message of recovery.
Yeah.
And most people that end up with me is at the end of the road. They've tried rehab, they've tried psychiatrists, they've been to prison, they've tried this, they've tried that, nothing works. And they come to me usually at the end of the road and go, I'm fucked, I need help. What do you reckon I should do? And because I'm so, this is it. There's no wavering with me. There's none of this, you know, unicorns and farting bubbles. And oh no, it's okay. Work the steps or die, motherfucker.
Yes.
These are the push that made my recovery possible. If you don't do this, fuck off.
Now, when you say work the steps,
yes.
Can you elaborate?
Well, the first steps tells you you're powerless. If you're powerless, how the fuck can you have power over it?
Right.
So the first step's telling you that you're hopeless, useless, and you need help. And that when you pick up a drug, your life becomes unmanageable.
Yes.
Right? And then you're unmanageable in your thinking. The second step tells you that if you keep making the same mistake, you're insane. Making the same mistake and expecting different results is insanity. Albert Einstein said that.
Yeah.
Right, and he was pretty smart, that guy.
Yeah.
The third step says you can't do it on your own, you need help. In that help is information and other people.
Yes.
And a loving God as you may find him, as he may express himself. Now, me, I'm not a God person. I have a God. Which God it is, I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't matter because it works.
Matter.
As long as it works, I've done the Buddhist faith. I've been to Jerusalem. I've been to India. I've searched. I'm a seeker. I seek truth.
Yeah.
That's why my company's called The Truth About Addiction.
Yeah.
Now, my book that I've written, which will come out next year, is called The Truth About Nothing. Because my life's nothing. To you, my life's nothing.
Right.
To the greater society, my life is nothing.
Yeah.
I'm not relevant. They don't even know who I am.
Yeah.
So I wrote a book called The Truth About Nothing. It's my life story. It's nothing to them, but it was everything to me.
That's right. I like, coming into recovery has been a process of finding God. And
Yes.
for me, that's finding good, orderly direction.
And that'll do.
That'll do.
Or a group of drug addicts.
Yeah, finding a group of drug addicts. Yeah.
Because the therapeutic value of one addict helping another is without parallel.
Yeah.
I would never have got clean listening to psychiatrists, doctors. In fact, doctors and psychiatrists put me on methadone, which is a synthetic fucking heroin that's supposed to stop me from using heroin. It never did. And what it did, it just took the desperation out of my addiction because I went to the chemist and he gave it to me every morning, and which was killing me. It was killing me. I was on 120 milligrams of it and it was disgusting. But, used in the right manner, some people get clean with it. And so I'm about harm minimization. Everybody's different, but for me, it didn't work.
Yes.
But what did work for me when I got a spiritual advisor, I've had the same sponsor for 36 and a half years.
Yeah.
I've had the same spiritual advisor the whole time.
Wow.
And we're very close. We're good. After 36 and a half years, we're very close. He knows everything about me. But I listened to him and I did what he suggested. And sometimes I did what I was told. And sometimes I didn't. And every time I didn't, I paid the price.
Yes.
Every time. Even today, if I have a question, I ring him. Because if I have a question, I don't have the answer. It's no good of going into my head and looking for the answer.
The answer's not in your head.
Because if I had the answer, I wouldn't have the question.
Yes. Yes.
It's really that simple,
I think it might have been you who said, if you're looking to control something, it means you don't have the control in the first place.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And that's been helpful for me.
Cool.
Are those your cars in the background?
Yeah, mate, I built all those.
You built them?
Yeah, I had a company called Sugarman Classics. I built Corvettes and hot rods and all the old ones are cars I built. All the new ones are cars I bought. That one there, the yellow one there, I don't know if you see that one up there.
Yep.
I bought that in 1999 when I told you that I was spiritually bankrupt.
Yeah.
And I was laying in a multi-million-dollar house and I was wishing I'd die.
Yeah.
And I flew to Florida and I bought that car and I drove out of I was only talking to someone about this yesterday. I drove out of the car yard. I had not one feeling of excitement. I was so ungrateful.
I understand that because I've been standing on stage at one of the biggest gigs of my life and feeling like feeling like I want to top myself. So I totally get that.
Yeah. So this is an inside job, recovery.
Yes.
You've got to have dreams. You can't live in them, but you make steps towards them. This program is so wonderful that all your dreams are tiny compared to what you will achieve if you maintain your recovery. Recovery has to come first.
Yes.
Even before my wife and children.
Yeah.
Sounds harsh.
Yeah.
But if you break it down to honesty, if I'm not clean, I'm not a good husband. If I'm not clean, I'm not a good father.
Yeah.
If I'm not clean, I'm not good to anybody. So my recovery has to come first before I become a good person. Once I become a good person, I can be good to my family.
Mm.
Once I'm clean, I can be productive. I can earn money. I can earn respect. I can earn everything. But once I use a drug, I can no longer guarantee my behavior.
Yes.
And I'm powerless and I'm unmanageable. So therefore, I do not think for 1 second that using drugs is an option for me today.
Yeah, I like there's a part in the literature where it says, just for today, my thoughts will be on my new associations.
Yeah.
And, I read that differently this time around, coming back into the rooms. And, I don't associate myself with those drugs anymore.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And I associate myself with these people, not these people,
And you say to yourself, I used to use drugs, I don't use them anymore.
Yeah.
People ask me about why don't I drink or drug? I say, because I'm allergic to it.
Yes.
And they say, what do you mean? I say, once I take it, I can't guarantee my behavior.
Yeah.
I used to be sarcastic and say, I'm allergic to it. Once I take it, I break out in handcuffs. Yeah, that's just ego. But yeah, the reality is, mate, once I take it, I break out in shithead.
Yes.
Instant arsehole, add a chemical.
Yeah. Well, for me, like, as soon as I take that first one, you won't see me for a month. I'll be in my room. I've been hanging out with mates now, and they're like, "Oh, it's good to see you. It feels like I haven't seen you in ages." It's like, yeah, I've been in my room. Like,
yeah, exactly. Isolation, because this
Yeah.
disease loves isolation.
yeah,
Because when you're on your own, it can do whatever it wants to you.
yeah,
It can physically, mentally, socially, spiritually just abuse the hell out of you. So you can't do that in public, because someone will say, mate, that's not right. What are you doing to yourself?
yeah,
And you're like, I'm not doing it. He's doing it.
yeah.
They go, well, why are you letting him do it? Oh, I let him live up there for nothing. I feed him.
Yes.
I give him some pot that so he can run right in my brain.
Yeah, it's
I kill
insanity.
the good part of my brain so the bad part can take over.
Yes.
Doesn't make sense, does it?
Insanity. The very
Yeah,
definition of
thank you.
insanity.
Exactly. So what's your plans for the future, brother? Music?
Well, yeah, music and recovery.
Recovery and music.
That's all I got in there at the moment. And
Yeah, recovery first.
yes.
Recovery and music, not music and recovery.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you for pulling me up on that.
Yeah. It's just training. It's training your brain.
Yeah.
It's training your brain. Recovery and music. Because you've had music all the time.
That's
and
right.
you're used.
Yeah.
So our recovery has to become the most important thing that we do.
Yeah.
And then by being in a recovery, our music will get better.
Yeah.
It's true, man. Everyone I know that is creative and artistic
Yeah.
gets so much better, Brett Whiteley, who's an Australian artist, very, very, probably one of our best painters ever.
Oh, yeah.
Brett came into the rooms 35 years ago, and he just couldn't get clean. He ended up by dying in a hotel, OD'd up the Blue Mountain somewhere. But he was one of our greatest artists.
Mm.
And he said to me, oh, when I get clean, I lose my artistic flair.
Mm.
I said, no, you lose your darkness. His paintings were really dark, I said, you lose your darkness. I said, and what you can't see is you can't see the light because you don't feel it yet. Give yourself time.
Yes.
And poor bugger never got the time, he OD'd and died.
Yeah.
You should look up some of his art. Some of his art's really good. He married a friend of mine, and she was clean a long time, and she ended up by relapsing with him and dying too later on. Sad. This disease kills people, and that's the thing that I do this podcast for, so that people understand that there is a way out, but you have to choose it and you have to work for it.
Yeah.
You don't get it by osmosis,
No.
but the rewards are phenomenal.
Yeah.
And there's also jails, institutions, and death if we choose to continue using. This is a filthy disease.
Yeah.
It's the only disease that tells you that there's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah.
Any other place you went to, they go, oh, you got to shoot this insulin up every day. You go, oh yeah, sweet, I'll do that. You come to recovery, say, oh, you should do an NA meeting or do some sort of meeting or should do some sort of course. It's like, I can't do that. I've got time.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. See, when people say to me sometimes, I don't know if I can afford to do your program. My response is, I don't think you can afford not to do my program.
Yes.
That's my
I
response to
understand.
that.
Yeah, I understand.
I don't think you can afford not to do my program.
Yeah.
Because, you know, my programs cater to a lot of people who want to keep their anonymity and don't want their name out in the world that they're recovering addicts. See, you know, some people get, you know, they'll lose their job or they'll get, you know, people's opinions are more important than their recovery, which is bullshit. You know?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm not worried about
Yeah. The
that.
social stigma.
I'm not worried about. Yeah.
And I think it's very rewarding and very freeing to be able to go, my name's John, I'm a recovering alcoholic and recovering drug addict. And I haven't put a needle in my arm for 36 and a half years. I haven't had a drink since 1982. Half the people I'm talking to weren't even born the last time I used.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, half the people I treat today weren't even born.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't have any shame about what I did. I have a lot of pride in what I'm doing.
But it's also attraction, not promotion, right? You're not going to scream it from the rooftops and try and get
Exactly.
everyone to. Yeah.
No.
So I'm trying to find that balance, you know.
Yeah. Most of my, I say to people, and I said it before, watch what I do, don't listen to what I say.
Yeah.
Watch how I live my life. Watch how my children treat me. Watch how my wife treats me.
Yeah.
But my children, my wife know me better than anyone else knows me. They're with me 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
You know, we can sit up and talk the talk and then go home and yell at your kids and fight with your wife and have all this turmoil in the house. We don't have that here. We don't have that stuff in my house, and I won't allow it.
Yeah.
You know, I got a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old, and I don't even let them fight. They
Nice.
tell each other they love each other, they kiss each other.
Yeah.
My house is a house of love. My house is a lot of love, you know. And that's a
you,
byproduct of what I do.
you've got what I want there, you know, like I just want to have that, you know, relationship with my brother. Like I've literally got a note in my phone that says, stay clean and be good to my brother. Like
Yeah.
all I want to do is be good to my brother, you know?
Yeah. Well, I've had the luck of being good to my younger sister. You know, she's 11 years younger than me, so she's 57 now. And you know, something happened, you know, my old man died and something, you know, there was some money there and I said, I don't want none of it. I said, give it all to her.
Mm,
You know, she was a single mum, blah, blah.
mm.
You know, and I'm financially okay. I said, just give it to my, you know, said to my stepmom, give it to her. So she bought herself a house and started a kindergarten, and now she's really set up for life.
Beautiful.
That's a you know, that's a wonderful gift, because I ripped her off so many times,
Yeah.
not financially, not physically, emotionally and spiritually. I ripped her off. She'd come and visit me and say, "Oh, when you get out this time, you're going to come and see me." And she'd be 11 years of age or 12, and I go, "Yes, sweetheart, I'll come and see you as soon as I get out." As soon as I got released, I'd have a shot and I wouldn't go near her.
Mm.
You know, and I have a lot of guilt and shame about that,
Yes, I understand.
but I've made amends.
Yes, and that's something that's a gift, right? To be able to make amends in a proper way. Like, yeah.
Yeah. And the amends I make on a daily basis, I stay clean.
Yes.
And she'll come and stay here, and she's so proud of her big brother, and she thinks I'm, you know, I'm
Yeah.
all that still, you know, and all, you know, she still looks at me as her big brother.
That's right.
And that's a gift because I'm clean. That's a byproduct of my recovery.
Yes.
I have the privilege of working with people in all walks of life. You know, I work with the police force. I mean, like, not with the cops that way, but I'm looking after a policeman's son.
Excellent.
You know, I've got him in recovery with me, you know.
Yeah. Wow.
I got references from cops saying, you know, because I do some university lectures on recovery and write these incredible emails saying, thank you very much.
Yeah.
You know, you're a credit, you know. And, you know, I'm working with the New South Wales Corrective Services about trying to start rehabs in prisons.
Wow.
That's a long way from being a street kid from Fitzroy who couldn't read or write, you know, a junkie and a thief.
So there are people probably who will question that and say it goes against a tradition.
It doesn't.
No, I don't feel that it does either.
It doesn't. No, I've already spoke to people about that, but it's irrelevant anyway, because I don't break anyone else's anonymity.
Right.
It's up to you whether you want to break your anonymity. It's not my job, it's your job.
Yeah.
You see, it's your recovery. See, you got to remember the 12-step programs were written in 1939, I think the AA one, and the NA one was written in 1982. There was no social media. There was none of this stuff.
Yeah.
Now, my whole platform is about reaching out to a bigger audience. You know, Zoom today, right? Zoom, just Zoom alone.
Yes.
Today I've had 3 meetings with a person in Western Australia, a person in Victoria, and a person in country New South Wales.
Yeah.
Having a talk to you. So in 4 hours, I spoke to 4 different people from 4 different states.
Yeah.
You can't do that without social media. You can't do that without the internet.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
You know? Today we have the opportunity to reach millions of people on a platform unparalleled to anything. Now, if you want to get technical, the 12th step of a 12-step program is having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps. We try to carry this message to addicts to practice these principles in all our affairs. The carrying the message to the addicts who still suffers is the most important principle out of all the 12-step programs.
Yes.
What are we doing right now?
Carrying the message, yes. And if it weren't for Russell Brand,
you wouldn't have got it.
Yeah, and he, you know, some people say he goes against the traditions, but he's carrying the message.
Exactly.
Yes.
You know, like as I said before, opinions are like backsides. Everybody's got one, and most of them stink.
Yes.
You know, my belief is that if you're doing the right thing, it'll happen.
Right.
It'll happen. You know, our job is to plant seeds. You take the ego out of it. We are not responsible for anybody else's recovery. We're responsible for our own. And if somebody gets something out of this talk we've had today, that's a bonus. I've got something out of it. Hopefully you've got something out of it.
Oh, absolutely.
And therefore, we've achieved what we wanted to achieve. And if somebody gets something out of it, that's a bonus.
Excellent.
Yeah. All right, my friend, I'm going to love you and leave you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Real pleasure having you on, mate. And I know you're going to do well. I really do. I know that, you know, you've got the honest desire and you've got the willingness, and just stay strong. Just don't listen to it. See, I have an attitude, no matter what, I won't pick up. No matter what. It's not negotiable.
Yeah.
All right, brother. If anybody's been listening to this podcast and they want to get in contact with The Truth About Addiction, look it up. It's Ron at The Truth About Addiction, and enjoy.
I solemnly swear that I will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.